I hope we haven't chosen the same one here. I went for the Rimac Concept 2. Did you go for that as well?
Yep.
Oh well. That's good. This will be a tie then.
Well, yeah, overall tie, and hopefully we'll have some good information between the two of us. So
perhaps a fair result.
All is not lost
for the first two cars.
I think you're probably right.
So obviously you know the horsepower. So I got two different figures for the horsepower.
Me too. Yeah.
So I got 1,887.
Yeah.
And then I got 1,914.
Me too. Yeah.
I don't quite know which one's right, but we'll go for the higher one.
I think so. Yeah. It could be more than that by the time they're finished. I mean, those guys are crazy. So
it's creepy good.
Yeah, it'd be 2,300 by the time the thing's released. I love how they're pushing boundaries. Go on.
Yeah, no, they really are. So it's 0 to 60 in 1.85 seconds, which is brilliant. The range is 403 miles, but that's NEDC, so we can expect that to be lower, potentially, in when it's released. A battery size of 120 kilowatt hours, a top speed of 258 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Which is a beast. Charge time of 80% in 30 minutes. Did you get that?
I did get that, yeah, which I was really impressed with.
Which I thought was, I was surprised. And a charge max kilowatt of 150 kilowatts. But I don't think it will take the 350 because I think the battery's 400 volts.
Okay. Well, but then those numbers don't quite make sense, do they? Thinking about it.
No, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Because to get to 80% on what? Because I didn't have the battery size down. What was the size of the battery?
It was 120 kilowatt hours.
Okay, so it would have to be doing at least 300 kilowatts in order to get to 80% in 30 minutes.
It sounds it would be about 350. It would be compatible with the 350.
I think it must be, although we'd have to check on that number. But if their claim of 0 to 80% in 30 minutes is correct, then it would have to be the 350 kilowatt hours charge supply.
Now, the interior is absolutely phenomenal. It is amazing. So, I don't know whether you want to talk a bit more about the interior.
Well, yes, absolutely. So the interior of this... Well, first of all, let's look at the exterior, because the other two are fantastic, but this thing is... I mean, it looks very Rimac. It looks a little bit Audi, I would say. There's a little bit of Audi R8 about it. But, the lines are beautiful. No doubt they have considered every aspect of the aerodynamics of this thing. Because it looks so aerodynamic, and it actually has a slight sniff of Porsche Cayman about it on the rear end, which is also really good. I mean, all of these things are really good aspects of this car because they're proven and everyone loves them. And the doors lift up. I mean, come on, it can't be a supercar unless the doors lift up. Quite frankly, but going into the interior, then the problem is this is a driver's car, isn't it? And so with a driver's car, what you don't want, in fact, what you actually want is the total opposite of Neo. This is not your living room in your car. This is the racetrack in your car, and I think they've accepted that because it looks plush and it looks comfortable and it looks nice. It looks high spec. But there's not screens all over the place. There's a nice small screen in the bottom right. There's a decent LED screen at the front, in front of you, which hopefully you could use to program to do lots of really cool things. Well, in fact, I know you can do that. And I think that's exactly what was needed for this car, rather than it being crazy overdone on the inside.
I saw this thing as well so you can take it onto like a racetrack. And because it's got so many sensors and things on it, so I think it's got a camera at the front, and it will tell you racing lines on the racetrack. So when you're racing, it will show you like the racing lines that you should be going on, so you can get the best times.
You're joking.
They've got a ridiculous amount of sensors on it. It's ready for level 4 autonomy as well.
Is it really?
Yeah, and this feature is absolutely amazing. And I think we've spoke about this before, and I wondered why a lot of other manufacturers haven't done this, but I think Rimac's got the flexibility to do it because they're such an innovative, smaller company. Is they've done a face recognition key.
I know. So I've got that down.
it can recognise your face and you can start the car. That is amazing, and it'll also open the doors for you on approach. Apparently,
Really?
So they've got cameras on the outside that will detect your face and it'll open the door for you on approach. Now, hopefully, there's not a bit of lag on that. You get smacked in the face with one.
You just stood next to your door and clunk. What's going on? Yeah, that would be interesting. I think that as long as it's safe and secure, which I'm sure it will be, facial recognition start is well overdue, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think as well, if they're doing it all locally, like we spoke about in the Neo podcast.
Yep.
If they're doing it on the vehicle, which I think they are, because I read somewhere that they've got the equivalent processing power of 22 MacBooks
with 72 separate ECUs.
Yeah, so I think they would be able. Well, they would be able to do it on the vehicle. I'm not sure whether they are doing that, but that would make it a little bit more secure as well.
Well, absolutely, because what you wouldn't want is a database of all faces that use that thing in the cloud. So I should imagine it is done. And that's probably what I don't know whether or not you remember, but Rimac were using high-key 960s at one stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they're using the Toradex as well.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw them at a Toradex show. They were there demonstrating their infotainment system.
Interesting. And for anyone listening, again, we won't get too detailed into that because this is not a breakdown episode. It's more of a light-hearted one. But both Kalon and I do know quite a bit about the internal technical side of these vehicles and what's required. We will put some time into that. And what we found interesting was that Rimac are using high-key 960s, which are development boards produced by Huawei, I think. Mm-hmm. And also Toradex boards, which are NXP IMX8 boards, which are in my view, much better. So if they are using the Toradex, then good on them. I don't know how many of those Toradex boards would be required to get 22 MacBook Pros, unless they were 2010 MacBook Pros. I don't know what they're benchmarking that on. But that's something we will have a look at. In fact, I've got that down on my list for us to have a tech breakdown on. Mm-hmm. So that's that. Okay, so which one wins? Is it the Rimac C2 or the Rimac C2?
Well, we missed out on one thing. So what was your air vents rating?
Yes. Now, I couldn't get a great image of the air vents for this car, unfortunately. The best one I could get was a bit of an obscured 45-degree angle. And it looked all right. So I've given it a 5.
Yeah, okay. I gave it a 6. Now, I don't know whether I was actually looking at the air vents or not, but they were like an alcove in the dashboard.
Yes.
So they were like these two little alcoves in the centre of the dashboard. And I imagine there's two other sides as well. But yeah, I gave them a 6. I thought it was a bit of a different design. But
yeah, to be fair, I suppose so. They looked a bit unfinished to me. Mm-hmm. Like they were a bit of an afterthought. Like, what's missing here? Air vents. Oh, Jesus, guys, come on, just stick a couple of holes in.
So they would have been a primary thought for you.
Well, the first.
If you were designing this. Yeah.
Most people would start with the chassis. I'd start with the air vents. I mean, I know that's a design nightmare for the engineers, but that is your midpoint. Is the air vents. But hey ho, it is what it is. Okay, so that's one and a draw.